Hello and welcome to this week's 89.9 seconds. Notice anything different? We redecorated, move stuff around. I'm Lee Chwi Lynn, joined by Freda Liu and Melisa Idris. As always, we are looking at 3 big news stories of the week in just under 90 seconds. This week, it's Do you think we're less corrupted? It's race riots in the United States and Bill Cosby. Let's get started. So, for our first story, congratulations to us. Pat on the back, everybody. Pat on the back. Because Malaysia has gone from 53rd to 50th in the Corruption Perception Index, although what that means, I don't know. Freda?
It's a perception, right? And we have seen this high, visibility in terms of some of these cases, right? And I just don't know whether that's really a real reflection of what's happening. Maybe the big names are being caught, people are being caught, but really, I don't know if it's really permeating into
the lower levels,
into
right?
society.
Yeah.
And it's apt as well as being an anti-corruption day next week.
Well, I think I don't know if this is precisely the problem with our country, that we think something is happening and so okay, yay, we're happy.
Right.
But I mean, what do we really know about what this is going to do?
Well, there's been a lot of media coverage on the big high-profile cases of MACC and the customs and this and that. So I think that has helped tremendously in letting us drop in the rankings or improve in the rankings, shall we say. But, for me personally, I think corruption is still it's still an ecosystem,
it still
right?
affects
so
the man on the street.
Top guy. Yeah, it's not just a top guy. It's a culture, and it trickles down to almost every level.
Precisely. So you can't just root out the big guys and expect everybody else to go, oh wow, they're coming after us.
Right.
We need to shape up.
Because we talked to a lot of these small businesses as well. Just a very simple example. I was just talking to this kindy owner. She's got all her permits, but then this health inspector comes by and says, you need a fire extinguisher, and you need to buy this fire extinguisher from this particular supplier.
Well, do people regard that as corruption? I think some of us, and this is the problem, might think that's just how Malaysia works. This is just how we do things, which is crazy.
Right.
And but I still, just to play the devil's advocate, right? Corruption eradication is not something that happens overnight. So I think baby steps is important.
Continuing on the theme of possible abuses of power as well as the strength of public opinion, there are, of course, race riots happening in the United States right now on the back of 2 high-profile cases. And the thing is, I suppose the question for me is, is this about racism, which many people appear to think, or is it just about aggressive policing?
I'll have to say aggressive policing. We tend to look at things from a racial point of view, maybe coming from our Malaysian eyes.
Right. Yes, we can't seem to help that.
I do agree with you. I do feel it was aggressive policing because, for one, the crime didn't merit that kind of punishment. But there's also an element of racial, I wouldn't say racial profiling, but racial tension, because it's like a build-up, right? I mean, last week and then now this week.
There is that statistic about how often black men are killed by the police in the United States. And I don't think that's something that we should be ignoring, even in our rush to sort of say, well, how else are people going to kind of keep the law?
Yeah, but with that guy, right? I mean, he did everything by the law, right? And that's why he was released.
Well, the policeman, the court played it by the rule of law, right? It was a technicality. I mean, they played the law to the letter. And I think that the reaction from the public, the protests that we've seen, the car burnings and all that, I mean, we have to respect the court's decision. We may not agree with it, but as a society, if you don't respect the rule of law, what else do you have?
And I wonder whether, again, that's quite a Malaysian mindset to have, right? It's like, oh, okay, this has happened. We don't necessarily have the right to go out onto the streets, whereas in the United States, it's rather different.
I don't agree, but I will tell you what I think.
Exactly. I'm not saying we should be torching cars and, stealing televisions, but there is this element of, I understand their anger. It's 2 high-profile cases that have gone against their society. And for our third topic, when I say Bill Cosby, you think show, Cosby, show, sweaters, etc., but not anymore. Now it's Cosby rape, because that's what he's been accused of. Melisa?
Well, I think my question here is Bill Cosby being tried in the court of public opinion? He has not been charged. Yes, granted, there's 15, 18 women now who have said
that he's paid off,
But that's not an admission of guilt.
It's not an admission of guilt?
Settling out of court is not an admission of guilt.
And I'm surprised he hasn't been charged.
I'm sure it will come.
Yeah.
But I'm not... For now, in my eyes, he remains innocent until proven guilty.
Right. I think that's part of the culture of rape, though, the protecting of the powerful. And he is undeniably powerful and somebody that I think believed he could get away with it forever.
And we were just talking about the previous story about someone getting a chokehold, and here he's not even being charged. And I'm really upset about this because this was a guy I grew up watching.
I agree with
that
you.
picture of that wonderful family, middle-class life.
Which he pushed, right? Which makes him even more hypocritical, I think, in the eyes of many.
And I think that's why why a lot of people are having trouble reconciling this idea of Bill Cosby, the rapist, as opposed to one of America's favorite dads, right?
Exactly. But I don't think we need to reconcile this, because I think if you're a rapist,
You're a rapist.
okay, I'm not saying kangaroo court
he's
the thing,
but he's not been proven a rapist yet, right? He's been claimed a rapist, he's been accused a rapist, but he's yet to be proven a rapist. I'm not saying that I don't think he's a rapist. I personally am very doubtful that he's guilty. That he's not guilty.
No, but I think it's okay at this point for him to lose business, for him to be tried in the court of public opinion, because honestly, I think he raped those girls. I don't think everybody could have that same story if he didn't. And that is it for this week's 89.9 seconds. As always, if you have comments for us, I usually say please leave it in the box below, but now I think it looks like I'm pointing at our legs. So, but yeah, please leave them for us. If you want more videos, subscribe to video.bfm.my. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.